Well, Driver's Eyes was an album that I had been wanting to make for a long time, and people ask me how come it's taken so long to get this released, but it's not as easy as one may imagine to get financing for a solo album, and that's one of the things that took a while to find the right record company, which ended up being Teichiku Records in Tokyo, in Japan, who a wonderful fellow by the name of Shigenori Kato was very instrumental in getting me signed and enabling me to get a budget in order to record the album I wanted to. So that took a long time. A lot of the material I had partially recorded for a number of years, and it was just a matter thanks to encouragement by a number of people, I managed to finally get a deal with Teichiku and get the album finished. I didn't want it to be a solo album in the typical sense where okay, it's my turn to sing, this is my turn in the spotlight sort of thing. I wanted the album to be more about music rather than about me. It's about the record or the CD, which is why I have the Driver's Eyes in bold face and Ian McDonald in light face, and that I didn't want it to be as I said, I didn't want my participation to be exaggerated, which is partly why I wanted to have guest vocalists on the album, to keep variety and to and interest, and just have really good singers. I mean, I can sing, and I actually did end up singing on more tracks than I had originally intended, but I think it ended up being a good balance between there's a number of instrumental tracks on there too, so the good balance between instrumentals, vocals, different styles of singing and writing, and yet I really tried to make an album that flowed and had, from beginning to end, and could be listened to as well, if you're looking at the camera this way, from beginning to end as an album, and I think that's become. I felt that it was becoming a lost art. The songs came first, but it was very important to me to put them together into a cohesive unit, and therefore the song sequencing was done at a very early stage in the game. Very often one records an album, and it's this whole game of like moving titles around. What's the sequence going to be? And it's done right at the last minute. But I knew that the song sequence way back in the process, and so that sort of ties in with what I was saying about recording an album. I knew what the order was going to be and which started, and how it was going to flow. Because tempos and keys and everything, juxtaposition of tempos, keys, instrumentals, vocals, all this sort of thing. It's very important to do this early on because that can actually influence how you arrange the song and how long the song is going to be and whether you needed to edit it and all this sort of thing. But I knew I knew what I was making quite early on. There was very little experimentation as such. I knew what overdubs needed to be done. Of course, there's always room for spontaneity, and certain things may not quite work the way you had planned. But so I would leave 15% or so of room for change, but I pretty much knew what I wanted the record I wanted to make. I think I've developed a sense of recognizing an idea that could be developed or turned into a song, or it just has some musical value, merit to it, and it's more or less the same process. I enjoy the process of recording, and I sort of understand it, and I enjoy working towards a finished product. I always have that in mind. I always try and keep to me the one of the most exciting moments, or it used to, I mean, it's not done this way now, but is actually just mastering, cutting the album on a blank piece of acetate or vinyl, whatever they used to, and actually watching the grooves being cut of your record. To me that's thrilling as well, and so I always try and work towards that. Is this when making a record, is this going to be right for the to cut and so make those grooves? And so I always try and think ahead. Does this sound like a record? Does this sound like a keeper? Am I going to be able to listen to this over and over again? Just to try and develop a sense of what will stand the test of time, what will stand repeated listening, and what will in fact make a good record, hopefully.